All right. Now it's starting. Perfect. Well, we missed our intro, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and get started with our reading for issue 14. And we are just going to go ahead and do it in the order that people submitted the form. So we'll go ahead and get started with Taylor Harrison. Taylor Harrison is an American writer and cat fanatic whose work has been featured or is forthcoming in a variety of literary magazines, including 13 Bridges Review, Chicago Story Press, and elsewhere. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Chris. And Stephanie, thank you for including me. I thought this theme was just perfect. I remember having it in the back of my mind when I wrote this piece. The piece I'm going to share actually is called "The Uterus is Unremarkable." It's a hybrid piece. I have it pulled up. I don't know if it's helpful to share it because it's a photography
Yeah, you can
slash creative.
definitely share it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're able to share your screen, yeah, that'd be
Let me
helpful. If
know
not,
if
I
you
can
guys
try to
could.
find it.
Sorry,
Perfect.
let me know if you guys can see it.
Yes, we
Um,
are good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so in addition to having this theme in the back of my mind, last year I attended the Yale Writers Workshop and we conducted an ekphrastic exercise. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Tracy Emin, but I was so inspired by her work just about the female experience. When I got back home to California, I wrote this piece. I was going through some issues myself. And this was just very cathartic to write. And I just felt so lucky to receive the acceptance email from Tiny Spoon because I wrote this with you guys in mind. So thank you so much. So with that, I will go ahead and take it away. I am not ready to confront it, but the results are in. Maybe you miscarried, they said with sunken shoulders, or more likely, another cyst. The possible amalgamation of blood and hair and fat and skin and teeth. Like the existence of God, I have not seen it, but I have to believe it is there. Benign, but growing. My belly soft and protruding, an intruder inside of me emerging from dense sauna-like body heat. Making itself known, flowing from me in red wine rivulets. Washes down the drain. Womb adjacent, it is not the fluid-filled sac I wanted, but the one I deserve. A door of thick flesh conceals it from the outer world, haunting me from within. It lurks in the shadows, affixed to me. It knows my heartbeat and rises and falls with each breath I take. The portal doesn't just open, it sheds light. The words are indelible on an 8.5 by 11-inch paper that reads hemorrhagic cyst. Endometrioma could have a similar appearance. Otherwise, the uterus is unremarkable. There is a complex cystic appearing structure of the right adnexa measuring 2.1 by 1.9 by 2.2 centimeters. The medical assistant prints out the results and schedules a 3-month follow-up appointment, and I am sent home with the fully formed entity. The pain endures, I endure the named pain. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, amazing that you wrote it just for us. And I would say when we saw it, we were like, yes, like it was so Tiny Spoon. Like it was like one of those pieces where we're like, yeah, absolutely, like duh. This is gonna be in the magazine. And yeah, a little bit of creativity across the page to get it to fit to our pocket-sized book, but I think it still turned out really, really nice. So
Thank
we
you.
are stoked for it. Cool. Then next up, we will have Kira Cordova. Kira Cordova is a Boston-based pushcart-nominated writer and sometimes tall ship sailor from the great seafaring state of Colorado, working on an MFA in nature writing. Take it away.
Hi, y'all. Thanks so much for having me. Um, I have two poems from the latest issue. The first is called Two Step, and it's written out in like the step pattern of like the actual line dance. The university I attended in Spain asked me to put on a United States cultural night. The Italian students did it, so I asked if they wanted line dance or pilgrims. Sarcasm is hard as a heritage speaker. When I said no, the advanced Castilian grammar professor asked if it was because the US wasn't supporting Ukraine. It was 2022, so I said, si mi país hubiera ayudado a Ucrania inmediatamente, yo todavía le tendría vergüenza, because I took advanced Spanish grammar from a Colombian immigrant with a doctorate from a Big Ten school, and my kind of podunk alma mater still asked for her papers to keep teaching in January of 2025. My second is in Hawaiian, kino denotes the physical body. In Russian, it means movie theater. As a high school heritage speaker studying Spanish, my teacher called false cognates false friends. Or maybe it was my French teacher. Maybe I can't remember because I was learning both through the filter of English, my mother tongue, and a friend-wronging family is a false friend, so any false cognates between English and Spanish or English and French feel like false friends when they're really just the evolution of a set of phonemes to a different definition. It only feels like a betrayal because the neural pathways in my brain responsible for making me a native speaker of English balk. But even after a year of college Russian, when the infant pathways in my mind knew kino meant movie theater, and of course the musician, when I read in the notes of No'u Revilla's Ask the Brindles that in Hawaiian, kino is the body, the flesh, the blood, I felt no affront to family, no false pretenses, no shame at my inability to recognize the difference. Just wonder that two cultures across the world from one another would use the same sounds to describe people and what captures the body's likeness. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Both amazing pieces, and I would say especially two-step. Like when we saw it, we're like, oh, this one. We love it. Like when the content, like matches the form and everything is good. It makes our hearts sing. So, thank you so much. Next up, we will have Sara Cline. And Sara Cline is a Texan poet, University of Washington MFA alumna, and recipient of an Academy of American Poets Prize.
Hello. I am actually at work. Wasn't able
Do you
to
want
get
more
off for
time? Do you want us to circle back?
the reading. No, I can do it now. I just need to actually like pull up the poem so that I can see it to read it.
Yes.
Do you want to like circle back, like do one poem before me? I'll pull it up and then you can come
Yes.
back to me right after that person.
That sounds
Sorry about that.
No, you're totally good. I'll be honest, like I'm like looking at so many tabs like on my computer while also listening. So you're good. I couldn't tell that you were at work. Yes, we will swing back around, but know that you are next, or if you need a minute longer, anything is fine. Okay, then we will move on to Carol Rose Little. And Carol Rose Little is a linguist, interpreter, poet, and co-translator with Charlotte Friedman of From Lightning Strike, May Apple Press 2026, a collection of poetry by Juana Karen Piñate, translated from Ch'ol, a Mayan language.
Thank you so much, and it's so lovely to be included in this issue with so much other beautiful work. And as a linguist, interpreter, translator, I was so drawn, of course, to this theme. So I was super excited when I saw the call. So thank you. The trial. I want to write about it, how I felt, what I did, how it ended, the sterility of the room, the masculine intensity. Instead, I think Shenandoah, what a beautiful word. Syllables I think I dreamed, like slipping into fall, a filament glowing, brilliant and bare. In an October windstorm, rain rattling the panes as I boil water in the dappled teapot to remind me of morning coffee in Chiapas, where I learned the language that led me to become interpreter for this trial. I could write about when language became utilitarian, strange, empty embers I tried stirring in vain. No, I would rather hear water on a concrete basin, rubber boots alight up a gravel path. Words glide from the soft palate of my mouth to an endless sky. I would rather things sound like this now, smooth, rolling Shenandoah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, your work was so beautiful. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed everything. I'm gonna say that to every single one. Like, oh my gosh, we loved it. But like, really, it's a pleasure. I mean, it changes it so much too. When you finally hear people read it in their own voice, it just adds so much life to the pieces. All right, Sara, if you feel ready, you can take it over.
Yes, I hope my audio is okay. Do I sound okay? I know that there's going to be like ambient like birds.
We love the birds.
Okay. My poem is in the like visual hybrid section. It is a poem made out of fridge magnets, which I kept like you can see the actual like rectangles of the fridge magnets visually in the poem. It is called Enter Burnout, Exit Man with Manic Pixie Dream. Crepuscular memory, at dawn come murmurs, filling this air with light and shadow. I was less broken. I had bright eyes flowering everything in shapes of lace. By dusk they howl. I was only lovely then, as some strange lost creature, streaking contrails of melancholy, an unknown, thus another empty space for your imagination to live. But here I have become a woman, visible, human, and sure. No pale alien rose seen through wine light, no half echo of that which you spoke. Within his dream we flew. In my being there's only me, estranged, lonely, bitter, can see my bones shudder through my skin, hear my metallic heartbeat, feel this white dread. Shot out of the sky, she will fall, full with and from her noise. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that you got off work just in time to join us. That is so perfect. And that is definitely the writer life of just trying to make everything work. But thank you so much for
Thank
sharing.
you guys.
Here. All right. Then next up, we will have Alissa Larson. Alissa Larson is a poet and retired firefighter who lives in California.
Thank you so much, Chris and Stephanie, for including my work and for this lovely reading. It's so nice to be here with everyone and experience everyone's work. Yeah, the project I'm working on now is a lot to do with grief and loss that I experienced during firefighting. So this is one of the poems from it. It's called Iridescent with Love Splatters. I've met death many times, people at the end and start of their journey. The new medic was tricked by a young man leaving, his athletic arms flexing, his careening breath, his potential. She asked him about the date and time, people, places. Even when I lifted my bloody gloved hand to show her the exit wound from his skull, the signal that he wasn't going to answer. How rude to say it. He watched us work with his still bright pupils, and still she kept asking. I thought it was kind of explodingly human when he left with his head in my hands, speeding somewhere that could not save him, but trying, with our urgent sirens wailing for his mother. What are we, if not children of mothers, the tiniest of atoms, and wild heartfelt tries? How loving it was to ask him the important questions, not to his ears, but to his brain upon leaving. Maybe he will find the answers we are looking for. Where are we? What time is it? Who are you? Do you know who I am?
Beautiful. Thank you so, so much for sharing that. Yeah, that was really stunning and so special. As Chris mentioned, just to hear you, we get the privilege to spend so much time with your work. And so once it's out there in the world and everyone else gets to see it and we get to hear you share it with us, it's just really special. And it feels like getting to know friends in a deeper way. Yeah, because we read everything so many times and it's just nice to hear it in your own voices. Yeah. So our next writer is Sara Whittemore. Sara Whittemore is a poet, artist, and roommate to 4 cats. It's all you, Sara.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much. Um, my first two poems are going to be from this issue, and then I have just two shorter poems. Rothko Untitled, 1944-45. And what is left behind is a biome of atomic particles, splattering out like projections birthed from modernist eyes. The particle explodes into a river divided by streaks of dripping blood. At once, whispers and birds arrive. Mountains dissolve into form in a clot of smoky ink. Can you see yourself in it? In the chaos, in the plain patriotic colors or spectrums of base contrast? Can you see yourself sitting smack in the face of a historical moment, yet always still just beyond? Lines lead to more lines, lead to circles, lead to singular points of existence that eventually converge back into the line. This line can be read. This line can only be read in the dark. The sea always somehow slips in a projection of abstract into landscape, in the vaporousness of smudged graphite. The sea drips beyond the mind's conscious landscapes, answering questions we haven't thought to ask yet. The red becomes only a suggestion of life, as life is the only thing that gives meaning to laceration. Can you see yourself giving form to the formless as you become formless yourself? The objective of commodified time exploding in the frame of the atom's spectacular onslaught. Pixel forest, worry will vanish after Pippoliti wrist. Open floating face is the world. Jelly moss oozes, tulip overlaying, eye terrain, teeth, eye sound, eye light, eye open, eye fragmenting at the sight of mind eye, mind skin. Symphonic crickets, frogs, birds, bees, sighs, vines fluctuate, the limbs, etc. Distorting around two screens confined to two walls, boundless, bled into universal ah. Teeth seen through pixelated botanical spews, space, on the floor, in a forest of beanbag chairs, a floral chorus naps, breams of recursive patterns, silvery concoctions, an amulet of entangled universal gulf. Meaning, I am meaningless. Amongst meaninglessness, bats flutter. God pulls from oceanic particles, intestines, a flower in the hip wilts. A pupil perplexes. Hydrangea petals rise, reverse, past, present, in imaginary momentum. In the sea green twinkling light is language. Slice thinly open wound of world, the lingering effects include butterflies, the black bushes at night. Underbrush. I have watched the figs ripen for centuries. I have stolen the dandelions, scattered their seeds across fields of tulips and tamarind. I have felt desire crack my lips apart under the weight of its slippery skin. What fresh figs, what sunny flowers, what breaking hearts rot beneath the hills, beneath the sticky sidewalk pavements. We grow older but not duller, hovering translucent over calendar time. And my last poem, Jormungandr. The glass serpent slides beyond the thin glade of vision, a moment occurring too quick for lenses to capture the unspeakable magnificence of this world fracturing. Shards of sky pierce the soil into ash and char. The head winds its briny mouth back to swallow the ocean open. We wait, we wait, we wait. In awe of intrepid chaos, colliding the seashells with the atmospheres of our singular destination, serpentine dances of body and spectacle reverberate across the volcano lands. Last ritual, perception, serpent sighs showing knife-like fangs, fern shivers, the lilies squeal and shriek. Glass serpent looks us in our glass eyes, slides a little to the left, spits out sand. We are writing this in the water. We are writing this inside the holy belly. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And that was my cat who, in solidarity for your four cats, just wanted to make a noise. So up next we have the brilliant Emily Marie Passos Duffy. Another noise for Emily from the cat. Emily is a Lisbon-based poet, translator, cat MILF, and co-founder of Working Girls Press. Yes!
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you, Chris, for this beautiful issue. And thank you to all the contributors. I'm actually wearing my cat earrings today. I don't know if you can see them, but it seems like we've got a lot of cat people. in here. I'm Lisbon based, but currently in New Orleans for the Poetry Festival, and I ran back from the small press fair so that I could be here. I'm going to read just the piece from the issue, which is such a beautiful issue. Thank you for this theme. I'm doing a PhD in translation studies, and I spend a lot of time reading life writing and interviews by translators. And this poem was written in response to the call for this issue, and also is very much an overflow of some of the research I've been doing. And it was very cathartic to just write a prose poem from these themes. So the title is Intimate Contours, Interview with a Translator. To translate is to know and not know. It is, as Spivak says, the most intimate form of reading. The self emptied out and becoming a conduit for some vibration to pour through. It is a performance in which the body of the translator is always implicated. Rachel Levitsky wrote, "Choose whichever metaphor repels you the least." So, translator, what metaphor do you make today? Is your craft a train, a stitched tapestry, a ghost, a bridegroom kissing through a veil? Are you a lover, cannibal, vampire? Are you a witch? And what sustains you? How does obsession propel you? Do you wake in the middle of the night thinking of dictionaries or that razor's edge between synonyms? Do you dream a new syntax? Did you grieve when it was over? How porous as you lay sleeping? What did you eat today? Did you drink enough water? What is the last card you pulled? How will you ever move on from this? Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, and another one from Nelson. Just our next reader is Caleb Drake. Caleb is a poet from East Texas whose bad habits include sunflower seeds and professional truck driving.
Hello. I don't know if y'all can see me or not. I can't see myself anymore. So, okay. I had to turn off my air conditioner so y'all wouldn't hear all of that in the background. First, I'd just like to say that I'm pretty proud to be in such good company. When I read through the proof a few weeks ago, I just thought, and these people are real poets and they have something to say. And I'm going to sound like Gomer Pyle throwing a Scrabble edition down the stairs and seeing what happens, you know. But I'm a firm believer that a writer should never let the fact that a word doesn't exist get in the way of trying to say something. My brother tells me his kids have invoked me to settle arguments. Big sister told little brother like something he said wasn't a real word, and he said, "Well, Uncle Caleb says everything was a real word, and I mean, every word was just made up by somebody at some point." I don't remember telling him that, but I stand by it. The poem I'm going to share is it's fairly absurd, and it has a prologue that attempts to explain. It's like poetry that shows its work, but unless there are any algebra teachers here, as my friend told me after reading a bunch of my work, he said nobody was asking for this. But the conceit here is that the poem is supposed to be a translation of a translation of a translation. But the prologue subverts the veracity to such a degree that the finished product could easily have been something entirely different, and the reader wouldn't have known any difference. Which that's funny to me, but it also maybe it says something about the problem of translation. But anyway, without further ado, this is called paradigm. During my brief sojourn among the people of the Shakvanya coast, I happened to witness their peculiar New Year's custom. 3 days before the waxing end of the 14th moon cycle, 1 year according to their reckoning, a single coriander seed is fed to an adolescent ram following a year-long marination in salted mare's milk. After the digestion, the seed is recovered from the resulting evacuate and brought into the common area at the fullness of the moon. Here, the old women take turns tasting the seed and poetically likening its flavor to various ancestors in what could mostly be described as trochaic sesquicentimeter, although they themselves adhere to no metric prescriptions and are unaware of Western taxonomy. A blind scribe is then tasked with both capturing these performances in their runic script and cryptically preserving them in a code that would most closely resemble what is known in the West as a round-robin cipher, as best I could tell. At the end of the night, both the cipher and the coriander seed are buried in the traditional location. If a cilantro plant appears in the spring, it is assumed that the poetry was life-giving. And the tablets are exhumed on the summer solstice. The women are then asked to reproduce the works from memory to be compared to the decoded transcriptions. Upon comparison, it is often found that some have improved upon their work in various infidelities to the original, in which case the new version is said to be the original and the New Year's version the inferior copy, the latter being discarded. I secreted this discard into my luggage upon departure, and I brought it home. I have attempted a deciphering and translation here, but being only basically familiar with the language, and even less so with the cipher, there are likely errors. Fulmer Othen Rodenbos befek of fleecing new, him totalin muligam to varies terra mu. Its cinder appen gallic knots a longing forwards keen, Persephonariatic stern, relate vendorsal peen. Lengthen long then all you skags, and firm unpurse the wren. Urethra balin cognac attacks along the Seine. Velop d Carthagemite below and leave it beast. On you the moistened boliv ranch, an Angus diet feast. To triple west long Kurdish wait, reform Gehennig rock. Go waste, young Manitoba young, yum greeted Alban Loch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our next reader is Rishika Pandit. Pandit?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Will you say it again?
No, that's completely fine. It's just Pandit.
Pandit. Thank you so much. Rishika Pandit is a poet from Vadodara, Gujarat, who is interested in displacement, belonging, and languages, and is currently pursuing her MA in poetic practice at Royal Holloway, University of London.
Thank you, Stephanie. I am in London, so it is quite late at night here, and it's been a long day, and I've not had the time to practice this poem. And like I remember writing it and like finding that this was the theme at that time, and I was working on my bachelor's thesis, which had to do a lot with like translation and things, and I was like, okay, this would be a great fit. But I have not revisited it since then, and it's been a long time. But I hope it goes well. And it's also it's my first poem publication in a magazine, so I'm really excited. A sestina in my mother tongue. I say theek hai instead of theek ache. Why is my father's language my mother tongue? There began my feminist thought at age 9. Nowadays, we solely text in English on the family group chat. iPhones have made it really fucking convenient. Dadan would try to teach me some Bengali every summer, but I had far more important things to do, like read Feluda in English and write stories which are an exact copy of Geronimo Stilton. To this day, my mother only speaks to me in Marathi. But I'm too shy to say "Mikahi nahi karat gari hai," so I say thank you because even though there is a word for it in Hindi, we never use it. Our tongues were colonized first by the British, but second by the Americanization of media. My story is that of a third culture, a landlocked borderland whose lingua franca is English. Call it shame, call me whitewashed. I've spent most summers of my life on YouTube watching DIY, Superwoman, Dan and Phil. What a fucking loser. On most days, I'm an effervescent observer. I've only ever fucked outside of my country. Call it immigrant coming of age. Call me good girl. That is to say, the Wharf Sapir hypothesis holds true. You tell me you go to the countryside every summer, but we don't have countrysides here, and when we do, it's not the same mental concept in my tongue. Only on my Erasmus year, when I meet people from all over, I realize how unpopular English actually is, how embarrassing that I forgot my French ab initio. What is a woman without her history? When I was 6, I refused to eat dal bhat without tummy telling me her extraordinary golpo. At 18, I get golpokar tattooed in Bengali on my arm, but I can't read it myself. I fuck up trying to spell my own name in my so-called mother tongue. Is there no respite from English for me? One night you're dreaming in another language beside me, and although I can say, "Can you få en brick café och en chokladboll, tack? Nej, det är bra," these tongues are still so foreign to me. We would practice a lot days before my Swedish exam last summer, always having the best sex afterwards. Call it honeymoon phase, call me good immigrant. Summers don't feel like they used to in my childhood. I've gone from writing stories about Jennifers and Georges to a preoccupation with my internal affairs, a navel gazing of the tongue. And I'm afraid that I will be a terrible mother because I never gave a fuck about learning a language good enough to pass on to my children. যেই ভাষায় আমি কথা বলতে পারি না, ওতে পৃথিবী কিভাবে দেখি? আমার কবিতা শুধু তখনই ট্রু যখন ইংরেজিতে। Thank you. And also, yeah, thank you for this issue. It was really good, like going through all these other poems in them. And yeah, I love the theme. And this is kind of like, yeah, like something I want to keep doing, like translation studies and things like that. And yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, that was, I mean, everything. It's always so powerful to, I mean, I already said that, but like it really, it changes so much. Like Stephanie said, it's a privilege to spend so much time with your work and then to just, hear it come to life in your voice is amazing. It honestly adds so much. So thank you all so much. Those are all the names that I had signed up on our sheet, but anybody else who's here who would like to read who forgot to sign up, speak now. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Well, perfect. Then we'll go ahead and close it out then for the evening. But again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to put together the issue. Just to pitch a couple upcoming Tiny Spoon things, which I'll also pop in the chat. We will be mailing the issues super soon. They're currently at the press and hopefully here next week. So you'll get them kind of like early, mid-May, ideally. So we'll, send that to you. But if you want more, want your friends and family or fans to buy them, send them along to that link and they'll go out when we mail them in that first round. We are about to open up our next call for submissions that we are super stoked for. It's going to be weathering. And I think that'll just be amazing. I think, we all are weathering the storm of this crazy world together right now. And I think an issue on resiliency, but then grounded in those natural forces will be incredible. So we hope that you'll submit again to that. And we also have a May workshop coming up with our Spring Tiny resident, Anthony Ross, called The Fruiting Body of Poetics of Decomposition and Entanglement. And I think it is going to be amazing. So if you are free, kind of mid-May, I think it's the 17th, 18th weekend, we would absolutely love to see you there. It'll be really, really fun. But yeah, perfect. Anything else you want to say, Stephanie?
I just thank you so much for being here and for showing up as you are with us. It's just such an honor, as Chris said, to get to hold your work in this space and share it with the world. So thank you so much. Please send the link to your friends and fans and family. So so everyone can read your beautiful translations.